And Brett looks like he's a little tender coming back. He's gimping.
So far, and his story is well chronicled. Offside, meanwhile, the call against Philadelphia. Brett admitting his addiction to painkillers during the offseason. Went to a clinic in Kansas for 6 weeks and has weaned himself off those painkillers, Vicodin specifically. We'll hear from him at the half, in fact, about the situation.
Yes, he is a 63rd consecutive start tonight. He's had an injured shoulder, a hip, a thigh, ankle that required surgery, and something that I think just built up on him.
The defender on the left side was lined up in the neutral zone.
Over a period of years, and he did something about it. And you got to pull for him to make sure it stays that way.
But he's a guy who every time he had an injury, he would pop the pills. In fact, he admitted to taking as many as 13 in a day. But he went through his rehab, or continues to go through it anyway, and so far so good. 1st and 5 from the 13-yard line, and Edgar Bennett breaks free and is thrown out of bounds at the 2-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal. Again, William Henderson with the block.
And Ryan Dawkins with a bulldog tackle on Edgar Bennett saves a touchdown. But boy, don't you just get the impression that that's just delaying the inevitable.
The rookie from Georgia made the saving tackle. Second-round draft pick. They'll probably get on Bennett when they look at the game films. Let that rookie stop you short of 6.
Again, you saw the block by Henderson, and Edgar Bennett to this point hasn't been touched. Dawkins is the first Philadelphia Eagle to make contact with Bennett. And again, tremendous blocking on the left side by Brown and Taylor and Winters.
Bennett and Levens out of the eye, and they fake it to Levens on 1st and goal. Favre just throws it away. A little shovel action to nobody in particular as he gets hit by Sylvester Wright at the end.
Yeah, but he saved a couple of yards by the incompletion rather than loss.
Again, Brett Favre ends up over by the band.
He's trying to get in that band, isn't he?
Maybe he ought to consider rolling out the other direction.
Came close to being a grounding call there.
Well, you can't, Al, once you're out of the pocket running like that, he can dump that baby anywhere he wants.
I think he was thinking he was going to save a couple of yards. He just got rid of it right there.
Yep. Yeah, true, out of the pocket and anything goes. 2nd down and goal from the 2-yard line. Levens, touchdown.
Hey, go where it's been good for you, right back to that left side.
Dorsey into the stands. That's a new tradition. They started it a couple of years ago.
Well, the old saying, give me some sugar. Up here, it's give me some cheese.
Yep.
Go up into the stands. Aaron Taylor and Frank Winters, they're on the right side with the good double team. The Eagle linebackers get too far inside, and boy, that's a relatively easy touchdown.
Chris Jackie for the point after. Well,
I have to admit, this has taken me by surprise. I thought the Eagles were a stronger team than this to be down 20-0, but it just shows turnovers. Turnovers will cripple even the best of teams.
Particularly going against a team like the Packers. Once they settle down, once Brett Favre settled down, they have played rather flawlessly.
Well, Jeffrey Lurie, the Eagles owner, doesn't like what he has seen. It's been all Green Bay. Levens, who caught a touchdown pass last week, the only one not caught by Keith Jackson, scores here with 9:20 remaining in the opening half.
And this has become a real tradition here in Titletown. Up into the stands. You know, I'd have tried that as a player, Frank, and I wouldn't have got off the route. I'd just run into that wall.
Had to throw you back.
They better put no grandmas in that first row.
I would have been like a home run at Wrigley.
Hendrick sends it to the 5-yard line. Charlie Garner back up to the 25, and the Eagles will have to regroup now with Rodney Peete, and they are in dire need of a long and effective drive. because tonight they've coughed it up 3 times, beginning early on when Rodney Peete threw to Chris T. Jones and Doug Evans was able to wrestle it away for the interception. That led to a field goal, and then a Ricky Waters fumble here. Sean Jones extracts the football. Pack recovers, and that led to a Brooks touchdown. And then this deflection by Santana Dotson led to a Kuntz interception, which resulted in a Jackie field goal to make it 13-0, and it's now 20-zip. First down, Philadelphia from the 24. Garner picks up 5. Charlie Garner out of Tennessee in his 3rd year. So far for the Eagles in the first half: interception, punt, fumble, interception, punt. Yuck.
And the Packers have had 6 possessions. 4 of them started in Eagle territory, and 1 of them got there in a hurry with that long completion to Robert Brooks. This game has been all that has been played almost entirely on the Eagles' half of the football field.
2nd and 5, 8.5 minutes left in the half. Peete throws, and that's incomplete. Pass a little low. Charlie Garner went down to get it and couldn't. 3rd down. The Eagles tonight have been pinned each time they've started a drive. Their average starting field position, their own 21, and Green Bay's close to midfield at their own 44. 3rd down, 5. 4-man rush. Peete throws. That's deflected and incomplete off the hand of Chris T. Jones. 4th down.
Rodney with a little bit of pressure, and again he had an awful lot on that. Could have been handled, but it would have been a very good catch.
Well, Jones is open. Looks like a pretty high percentage play, Frank. Just a simple crossing pattern.
You don't see it in slow motion like this, but that had a lot on it. Like I said, you could have handled it, but it would have been a good catch.
Tom Hutton to boot it.
The kind of catches you have to make, though, when you're down 20-0.
Desmond Howard back to run it back. 43-yard kick, and a good tackle made immediately at the 27-yard line by the other Jimmy Johnson.
Well, I mentioned what a dangerous returner Desmond Howard is. I think he has 3 returns for like no yards.
At least he's not fumbling, because last year the Packers were killed by fumbles on punt returns. So
he
this
really
is holding on to the football.
He really has the Eagles shaken up, Dan.
Yeah, he really does.
It's a great move by Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, just perfect. Gets close enough to the runner before he leaves his feet, drives through the lower leg. Just a textbook illustration of how to get in there and make a tackle.
Caught a glimpse of Danny Smith, the Eagles special teams coach, and one of the myriad of young coaches. We talked about it at the top. Ray Rhodes, a complete turnover personnel-wise, and as far as the coaching staff is concerned, not one coach has been there more than a year and a week. First down, Green Bay from the 27, and Favre throws, and it's caught by Robert Brooks. And Eric Zumwalt said, no, he didn't get it. The official is right there to say, you bet he did.
Frank, I think you need a laser sight to get a pass in there.
Absolutely beautiful. And again, he had the touch on it. We followed him since he came into not into the league, but certainly with Green Bay, and he is really developed into one of the great touch passers. He always had the cannon arm. It just laid in there so beautifully. Again, Zumwalt, not bad coverage.
No, he actually touches the ball. Looks to me like Zumwalt touches the football before Brooks.
Now Bennett picks up 7.5, tackled by Zordich. And the Packers putting on a clinic, and it's Monday Night Football, and when you do this and your peers are watching, they are making a major statement right now.
Yes, they are. Especially when you consider this is a game in which the court... Yeah, Zordich touches that football. Zumwalt, rather, touches that football before Brooks does. And look at... That ball never touches the ground. Yeah. If that ball at any time touches that ground, Robert Brooks never had control of it.
2nd and a deuce. And Bennett through the air and on the ground. It's all Green Bay to the 24-yard line. Well, Mike Holmgren half-kiddingly said, I don't want to hear the words Super Bowl. Well, he may not hear them from the players, and he may not express them to the players, but this team right now is clearly one of the creme de la creme teams in the NFL.
He can't find us, can he?
No,
we can talk about it all we want.
They're sure talking in Green Bay, too. They're talking it around the league, too. They're a good, solid pick by a lot of people to go all the way, and they should. I mean, look how close they came last year, and they're a better football team. Keith Jackson, a tight end. They've helped themselves defensively. They've got a great shot at it.
Mike Holmgren and Ron Wolf, the GM, have really put together a machine. It's 2nd and 10 as he tried to jam it into Antonio Freeman.
You have to like the way Brett Favre has settled down. He opened up this game, what, 0 for 4, 0 for 5, right, something like that, and he has really gotten it back under control, and he is really laser sighting some passes in there now.
Sort of like we saw him when he came in '92 from Atlanta, and he's just throwing the ball like that. In the first few minutes of this game, he did it the entire season, and they stayed with him, and he almost drove home him crazy, but
that's right.
He's turned into the premier quarterback around.
Early in his career, when he would start off a little discombobulated, he really struggled to get it back under control. I think we've really seen some maturity out of a guy. But keep in mind, he's still only 26 years old.
2nd and 10. And he throws, and the catch made by Keith Jackson. So Favre nimble enough to move the feet, find room, seek the opening, and then jam it in with that great arm to Keith Jackson. Close
that
to
was it, too. That was the arm. How many times have we seen Joe Montana do that? They work around the pocket just like Montana did for Holmgren with the 49ers. Finds a little sliding space, slips out there, and just strong arms it in there for the completion.
Well, for those of you that have wondered what has happened to the tight end in the NFL these days, some teams don't have any because Green Bay has 2.
That's right.
With Chimera and Keith Jackson, they're hogging the market.
And they are good.
Gary Brown off on a different snap count.
Both of them into the Pro Bowl.
Ball start. Number 68 on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
What a wonderful pair of options for a quarterback to be able to work the middle of the field with guys the caliber of Jackson and Chimera. They both bring different things to the table. Jackson, the more gifted route runner. Chimera, the better blocker, the bigger, stronger, more physical guy. Keith Jackson, the savvy of being around this league for a long time. They are a wonderful combination.
Green Bay is going to take a timeout here, their second, before a 3rd down and 6. Gary Brown went off on a different snap count, and Brett leads in a lot of ways, doesn't he?
Sure does.
Offensive linemen love that, don't they, Dan?
No, darn right they do, because Gary Brown knows that it's not just a mistake. It's a mistake on Monday Night Football in front of a lot of people. You hate to feel like you let the other 10 guys in your huddle down, and that's a little pat on the head like that goes a long way.
Looking down upon Lambeau Field from the Goodyear Blimp. Spirit of Akron, as we mentioned, it's the first time the Goodyear Blimp has been to Green Bay. Some other minor blimps have been around Green Bay, but it's the first time the Goodyear Blimp's been here. And everybody was very excited about that.
The cheese blimp.
3rd down and 6 on the 21-yard line.
What a cheese blitz. What a...
Favre looks one way, then the other, and then dumps it for Bennett, and it's incomplete as Edgar looked upfield before he looked it into his hands. 4th down. And in comes Chris Jackie to attempt what will be about a 38-yard field goal.
Again, I don't know. Bennett would tell you I should have had that. Favre dancing around, looking for space. Finally gets to the outside, finds Bennett. Should have been a completion, but Bennett was looking upfield before he tried to take it into his hands.
This range between 30 and 39 appears to mystify Jackie.
Well, it's not no man's land for him here as he bangs another one through. So he's made from 29, 44, and now 38. And with 5:18 left in the half, it is Green Bay 23 and Philadelphia nothing. And let's get a word from New York and Chris Berman. Chris?
Hi, Al. Thanks. And coming up on our Lexus halftime report, we, of course, look forward to your talk with Brett Favre. We'll have the sights and sounds of Week 2, including a look at some of the undefeated teams. And surprise, one of them, the Carolina Panthers, who won at New Orleans. It's not the Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. It's not the painter Winslow Homer. But it's Winslow Oliver, the 3rd-round pick from New Mexico. 84-yard punt return. In my mind, it's 2-0 Carolina. And now it looks like the Pack are looking at 2-0 as well.
In fact, Chris, the Pack could go all the way collectively.
Who is that guy? That face is familiar.